Hi, I'm Malik, and I'm talking to Josh Silverman, CEO of Skype. Skype just celebrated 5 years. Josh has been the CEO for 6 months, and today he's going to talk to us about how Skype is doing and how he's doing personally. So welcome, Skype.
Thank you.
So Josh, let's talk about your first 6 months, and how when you took over, you're obviously stepping into big shoes. Nicholas and Jonas, they cast a big shadow. How has it been so far, and how have you kind of tried to do your job?
So I'm having the time of my life. I fully accept that I'm stepping into very big shoes. Skype is one of the most successful 5-year-old companies in history, no matter how you cut it. We announced at the end of last quarter 338 million registered users in our 5th year. There may be other companies that have grown as fast as that, but I'm not aware of any. We announced 100 billion cumulative Skype-to-Skype minutes, which is a huge number, hard to get your head around, but to put it in some perspective, Skype now accounts for about 6% of the world's international calling minutes. We announced $136 million in revenue last quarter, which puts it a little bit ahead of where eBay or PayPal were at this time in their history. So again, one of the fastest growing companies in history by revenue. And our 6th consecutive quarter of profitability. So almost no matter how you cut it, it's one of the most successful companies in technology history.
So you say 6% of all internet calling. So does that make you as big as AT&T as a phone company? Not as a broadband provider, but
sure.
as the total minutes served up by AT&T, is it somewhere close?
So it's 6% of international calling minutes. And so I think that in international calling makes Skype a real one of the major players in international calling globally.
Now this is on the PSTN network, not Skype to Skype.
So that includes Skype to Skype
okay.
minutes actually, and a lot of people are making international calls now with Skype to Skype.
So the big question for Skype is that what is Skype now? I mean, when I look at it from the context of it sits in eBay. And despite all the talk of synergies and whatever, that never really showed up. Skype as a standalone company, as you very well say, is very successful, right? It's growing really fast, it's profitable. And how much revenues did you say?
$136 million last quarter.
Yeah, so that's a pretty decent price point. So, but it still is hard to get your head around Skype because it's married to, I don't know, it's like a 24-year-old supermodel being married to some 60-year-old Greek tycoon. What's going on there?
So I think your question is, what is Skype and how do I get my head around it? What Skype is our mission is enabling the world's conversations. And what we aspire to be is the world's leading communication software company. And if I can give a little bit of context, I think that the communications industry is going through one of the great sea changes of our time. And we'll look back 10 years from now at this moment in time and say this is the time when communications transitioned from being hardware to being software. And what I mean by that is if you cast your mind back 10 years ago, you'll remember that dedicated appliance you had called a telephone. And it was purpose-built for voice, and it was tied to a network that was purpose-built for voice. If you think about the world we live in today, we use these multi-purpose computing devices. I don't know about you, maybe 5% of my time on this is spent with voice communications. I do all kinds of other communications with it. If you look at the iPhone, it's not even a communications device. You're checking stock prices or the internet, you're watching movies and listening to music. One of the applications you use on that device is around communication. So communications moved from hardware to software. It's now part of every device, and every device is connected to a multi-purpose network called the internet. So what that means for consumers is massive amounts of innovation, making communication richer and fuller. Again, going back to when communications was embedded in the hardware, it was only voice. Now, if you think about the spectrum of communications, it goes all the way from very short, Twitter-like communications, in our case we'd call that mood message, to chat, to voice, to video, to file transfer and online collaboration, a whole set of different modes you want to talk in, all tied together by some common services. For example, one common address book, common set of presence. And what consumers want and need is that core set of services that follow them from device to device everywhere they are. We think Skype is uniquely well positioned to capitalize on that, and in fact we think that is the future. Just like the train industry did not invent the airplane, the telephony industry is not going to invent the communications business of the future.
Yeah. I wrote about one of the telephone companies getting together and building their own client. I mean, have you heard about that?
I have.
And what do you make of that?
We welcome competition from all sources.
All right, if you were a betting man, when would you bet that they would actually release a product like that?
Well, I think the phone companies have not been known to be world-class at building software. When 10 of them get together, the odds of success go down a lot.
So that would be like after your and my retirement, is that what you're saying?
You know what? The great thing about communications
I'm
being in
just
software,
kidding.
no, I totally hear you, and I couldn't agree more. I mean, the great thing is that this is going to be a massively competitive industry, and when it's massively competitive, the consumer wins. What we need for that to happen is we need open networks.
Right.
And the world that North America lives in today, where the carriers control the device you can use and the software you can load on the device, consumers are losing big time.
I wouldn't go that far. I think that's your argument. That's Skype's argument. I don't buy that. While I do agree that we are living in a country where competition is scarce and it's almost like an emerging economy as far as broadband and IP is concerned. IP networks are concerned. But regardless of that, like, you didn't answer my basic questions, like, being married to, eBay, like, what does it bring to you? Absolutely nothing. It's like, it just still remains like a big mismatch, isn't it?
So eBay has been extremely supportive. My mandate for them is very clear, which is to build the most valuable communications company I can, and to do what I need to do that. They've been very supportive of me, and they've offered a lot of independence to Skype to fulfill that mission. One of the interesting things about the communication space is it's very balkanized. And the cable providers against the fixed line, against the wireless, and any camp you join makes as many foes as it does friends. One of the really unique things about eBay is in the eBay umbrella, I'm a totally neutral camp that can work with everybody.
But why not just go public? I mean, spin it out of eBay. And so you're profitable, you've got revenues, you have customers, you're growing business like crazy. Yeah, why not a standalone company? Why do you have to be, married to eBay? I mean, I just don't see it. Like, I understand you're saying you got a safety net, great, but if you're doing so well, why do you need a safety net?
So, I hope I didn't say safety net. I do think
but when I say it's like neutral is like, okay, neutral is another way of saying a safety net, right?
No, what I mean by that is that we're not allied with any one camp, which means that I can't do partnerships.
But you can do that exactly if you're a standalone company.
True. So John Donahoe, the CEO of eBay, has said publicly that he's going to evaluate Skype's role in the overall eBay portfolio in the coming months. I've got a day job. I've got plenty to do running this great company. And, as you said, I feel a great sense of mission and destiny to live up to the potential that Skype has. And that gets 100% of my attention.
So let's talk about what are the growth initiatives you have. Like, let's forget the past. That's done. What's coming up next? What is it that, we as consumers should be excited about?
So there's 3 things we're really focused on right now at the highest level: product innovation, paid services, and platform. On the product innovation side, I'd highlight a couple of things. Skype was not the first company to do voice over the internet. It was just the first one to make it really easy. And while Skype is very easy to use, it's not easy enough. And so a lot of the innovation you should expect from us is making Skype even easier and even more reliable. Another big area of focus in product innovation is going to be around video. I think that video is the dominant mode of communication. Now, I don't mean that means all calls are going to be video calls, but I think voice and chat are going to be table stakes, and people will make the decision around which application to use based on who delivers the best, most reliable, highest value video experience. So we think video is a great source of differentiation for Skype. On the paid services side, we have some great paid services. They're just not particularly well marketed. A lot of our users don't know we have them. We haven't named them well. We haven't described what the value proposition is well. And when people find out about them, they're delighted. We just haven't done a good job. So I think there's a lot we can do to just market our current products and services better, and then bring some pretty exciting new ones to market. The last thing I talk about is platform. Skype has historically been a very closed, a relatively closed community. Now we have created an API that has about 15,000 partners working with Skype to build their capabilities into Skype. There's a massive ecosystem of people who want to build Skype into their products and services, from hardware providers who want to build Skype into flat panel televisions or cordless phones, to software providers and websites that want to build Skype in, and we should be working with all of those. We can't win if we're working with all of them one-off, so we need to have a really robust platform. Obviously, within platform, the most important area of focus needs to be mobile.
So, before we go into mobile, and picking up on your last comment, right? The biggest challenge Skype has, at least I feel, is that it's lost its sense of wonder. We are not amazed by it. We're not thrilled by it. So it's not Skype, as you just said. It's a phone company, right? Just a new kind of a phone company. It's like a phone company. Isn't that like the biggest challenge you guys have? How are you going to excite me with these API and new services when I don't even think of Skype as anything more than an instant messaging and a voice client, right?
So first, we're definitely not a phone company, we're a software company.
A new kind of a phone company.
But look, it's our job to continue innovating. What made Skype great is the ability to really think disruptively, think differently about how to attack markets, and I'm 100% committed to doing that. We are increasing our investment in product development and continuing to focus on bringing world-class people into the company who can do that. I will say we have 338 million users around the world, and the growth of Skype is remarkable.
No. I think don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about the number of people using your service. See how Google amazes you occasionally. Like, even if it's a stupid browser called Chrome and it's half-baked and but it amazes you, right? And that's the thing. That's that excitement, that sexiness is not there.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you bring it back? And it's gone. I know it's gone. I've been following you guys for 5 years. So,
look, we're committed to continuing to delight people with really innovative products, and so that's a big focus of ours, no question. And there's a lot of people who love the Skype product and feel really passionately about it. So while I hear that you're feeling like maybe for you it's lost some glow, I talk to lots of people every day who are super excited about it. And what they want from Skype is not the next big whiz-bang feature. They want it to be even easier, even more reliable, not to get cluttered, stay focused. There's still hundreds of millions of people out there that really are just looking for a good way to connect with friends and family.
Yeah, well, I just want Skype to be on my mobile. It isn't.
Yep, I hear you, brother. We're working on it. I just need...
But let's just get it down in writing, though.
As soon as the operators will allow us access.
But what do you need the operators for? Release a Skype on iPhone. I mean, come on, get it done already.
Stay tuned.
We need Wi-Fi. I mean, that's all. We don't need them.
Stay tuned for that. We launched in
Come on,
beta.
tell me when you're launching it. I can't wait. This year?
Stay tuned.
You're going to give me the scoop, right? Okay.
We care a lot about you, and you will definitely be in the loop on it. Look, the iPhone's a great product and exactly the kind of thing that Skype ought to be associated with. But we launched, as an example, Skype for Windows Mobile in beta in a relatively quiet release a few months ago. It's pretty hard to find on our website, and the last number we announced publicly was 7 million downloads of it. So there's no question the demand is massive to to have Skype on the mobile phone, and not just for voice. One of the things as we've talked to our users, they care a lot about having presence. They care a lot about taking their chats with them, the ability to do video or receive video. They really want the full suite on the phone.
What about other platforms? Like really, I was being a little, joking around with you, but seriously, when does iPhone and Symbian actually start to see the official Skype products, not the ones from iScoot or the other, companies, really your products?
Yeah, I hear you. Stay tuned.
Yeah. Has there been a company has started to think differently about mobile? Because a few years ago, when I wrote about Skype's mobile plans, it seemed that it was not the Skype religion to even think about mobile, but now it seems it is.
We need to be everywhere. What people want is they want one suite of communication software that does chat and voice and video and file transfer and collaboration and short messaging, and does it on whatever device is convenient for them. One of the things we talk about inside the company, just to bring it to life, is I'm at my desk having a conference call with a couple of folks. I press a button, it gets transferred to my BlackBerry. I walk to my car, the Bluetooth puts it in the car speakers. I walk into my home, I wave it, and it goes up onto the flat panel TV, and suddenly that's a video call happening. I walk into the kitchen and there's a TV on my refrigerator. I'm cooking something, I can video call my mom real quick, show her, hey, is this, am I doing this right? She says, yeah, you've overcooked that, we're done. So in a world where all devices are eventually connected to the internet, all devices are computing devices, and communication is just more bits and bytes traveling over that internet like any other bit and byte. We think that's when consumers are really well served.
Before we go, I have one question for you, the last one. So the new beta release, didn't go down too well with a lot of people.
Yep.
Just like too overwhelming, is to put it politely. Any changes coming to that?
Yeah, we're going to be launching the second version of the beta in just a few weeks. And what we had said when you and I talked about it first is sometimes you need to lead, not follow, and that means taking some big, bold changes. What we want to do, though, is be thoughtful about how we do that and get community reaction. So what I didn't want to do was have a ton of internal discussions and debates for months and months and months, and then just launch something that felt the best to us. I wanted to just get something out there, start to get public reaction around it, take the feedback, respond to the real feedback of users, and iterate. I think that's a best practice in the web that we can bring to software. The feedback on the first beta that we see actually is actually really, really positive. So, and I would say above expectations. People that use the 4.0 relative to people that use 3.8 have lower churn and higher engagement of the services, and when you just ask them, are you delighted with the product, on average it scores higher.
Right.
However, there are some things that some users really don't like. They don't like the full screen. They don't like the amount of space it takes up on their screen. Chats are not as visible as they want them to be. They're missing some chat messages. They're not understanding history as much as they would like, and there's a couple of other things like that. Some of those we expected. We had a sense that the amount of space it was going to take up on the screen was going to be a problem. The fact that chats weren't visible caught us off guard. The history issue caught us off guard, a few of these other things. So I don't want to say caught us off guard. They're good learnings that we weren't expecting. So you will see those improve substantially in this next release, and by the time we go gold, I think we're going to have a product that's just going to be killer.
Excellent. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Will.